carry. I mean, we've seen a lot of Shaco carry as we go into our final game from Lobby 1 across set 3, right? We saw it before 3.5, we've seen it now after 3.5, but I didn't expect to see it to the level that we're seeing it today. We're seeing a lot of Shaco carry in this lobby.
Yeah, and I think part of the reason why is he's just such a good unit versus any backline-oriented comp. Right, he does well versus mech because mech can't really protect the victor. There's just not enough units. Does well against Star Guardians for similar reasons, especially if the Nico's out of position. So it's basically the combination of the Dark Star trait making Shaco scale into late game, and his behavior as an infiltrator making him a unit who's really really strong in certain metas. So I wonder if we'll see people adapt. Like Becca, what do you think does well versus Shaco that we might see players start to play?
Well, okay, so Shaco's an infiltrator, and a lot of the carries right now that seem to be prevalent are the ones that are in the backline. And that's why I think we are seeing him so much more, especially with a lot of the nerfs that happened in some of the previous patches. But against Darkstar, what do I think does well? It's a little rough because it's only been like a couple patches since Darkstar came back. But I do think that Star Guardians still should do well with the Nico protecting the backline from Shaco, and also the Syndra just being able to have the chance to one-shot him, and it not being a skill shot, just being targeted damage so that he can't dodge. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree. I think the way you beat Shaco in that situation is positioning, specifically positioning of your crowd control. So for instance, if you're playing mech, you don't backline the mech, but you bring it back far enough that ideally that AoE is going to hit Shaco, theoretically, before he kills your Victor. And Star Guardians have it even better, right? Where you can corner that comp a little bit more, or you can at least move the Nico back so that her ult catches Shaco as well and gets that crowd control going. So just, I think, a little bit more positioning as far as like making sure you're trying to catch the Shaco is really all you can do. And if you don't, he's going to run over you. Basically.
Yeah, I just want to point out, speaking of Shaco, these are really good Shaco items. Just saying. I think I saw Pobe do that little emote thumbs up, so he's feeling good about his items. He can either go Shaco from here, already has a GA and half a Bloodthirster, or he could just choose to play reroll Battlecast. Deathblade is actually quite good on Kog'Maw because Kog'Maw hits multiple units, so he stacks his Deathblade quickly. So Pobe's got to feel really, really good about his options, and I think he's in a strong position to have a nice mid game.
Yeah, very strong position to make it to day number 2 as well. I think he's pretty much guaranteed at this point. Yeah, it'd be a really weird scenario where if you wouldn't make it. But like, if we check out just to reiterate with the standings really quick, we've got 3 players tied at 19 points right now. So even Achen, down at 6th in the standings in Lobby 1, still has a shot of going through. So this game decides it all, but it's still way wide open as far as what 4 make it through. Very good.
I think Pobe just said me Battlecast, right, Becca?
Yeah,
I
with
think
the
that's me
reroll Galaxy
right
for sure.
Oh.
It's always so surprising when he slams that. I just don't expect it ever, and he does it every time, or 2 out of 2 times.
You know, it's interesting because some players like that. For instance, we'll see Double 61 in the next lobby from EU, and I've been looking at his profile in the US, and he's actually been playing a surprising amount of 6 Battlecast. So we might see a bit of that from him too, but I still don't think it's the strongest comp, but some players like it, and you know, if you can hit the 3 stars, it certainly can be strong.
Yeah, I think it's one of those comps where it's kind of dependent on what galaxy you're on as well. You know, on Trade Sector, because it's so easy to hit the Alawi, hit the Nocturne, and hit the Cog just from getting to reroll, it can thrive there. And I think Pobe played it 2 games ago as well, right? And we saw him hyper roll, which is actually something that's much more aggressive than what I'm used to seeing in North America. That said, I really like it, because part of the problem with reroll Battlecast is by the time you realize you're not hitting Kog'Maw, it's harder to hit the Laui and the Nocturne because you're already, you know, level 5. So by just saying, okay, I'm just going to all in level 4, get strong right now, it gives you more breathing room to eventually hit the Kog'Maw. So I like it on Trade Sector, and I like his adaptation to sort of force a more aggressive leveling pattern.
Yeah, and then he hits 2 Cassius this early, and then sold his Kog'Maw? What did he just sell? Okay, Ziggs.
Ziggs,
okay.
yeah.
This makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah, now he's playing the 4 podcast. Nope. He's okay.
It's a tough decision.
A lot
right?
of decision making going on at
Yeah.
the same time.
I think this is
Yeah.
better though. I think it's better to put in Blaster than 4 Battlecast. I think he'd be playing that a little bit too aggressively if you went for that synergy right now. You might take a couple losses here and there, but this will be theoretically the stronger one.
And the 2
I think
Cassios are just too expensive.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think irrespective of stronger board, probably wants to make sure he makes gold, right? So he
Yeah,
can start
true.
re-rolling or hyper-rolling ASAP. So even if it's like arguably maybe a weaker board, it's definitely the board that I think will allow him to save more money, which is really, really important when you're running these re-roll times because it's pretty expensive to roll down and hit your units, especially if you're hyper-rolling.
Right.
Because we've seen that he does hyper roll. I know a lot of NA players do not hyper roll, so we know Bobe definitely does hyper roll. I can't
Yeah.
remember exactly how many of each unit he had when he decided to, though. I wonder if he doesn't have enough, if he'll just slow roll.
That's a great question. Yeah, because I think when people started playing a lot of reroll at the beginning of set 3, it was more hyper roll focused, right?
Right.
Like you would generally, if you hit like even 4 Zayas, you say, okay, I'm just gonna hyper roll right now. I'm not actually sure why people stopped doing it now that I think about it, but I
Wasn't
think
that like they
situationally
added more 1-cost units or something like that?
it might have
I
been the
think
case.
they
You
made
might
it,
be right
and
there.
they changed the number of 1-cost units as well in the pool. It made it a lot harder to hit those reliably.
Got it. Yeah, I think that would be it then.
There was also a little
Yeah.
bit of nerfing done to some of the more prominent hyper roll 1-costs, like Poppy. Obviously, there was the Candyland comp for a while where you would hyper roll Poppy and some sorcerers, but they reduced the strength of that, so Poppy couldn't 1v9 anymore. So I think it's a combination of those kind of things. But I like the state it's in now, where it's like there's a couple comps where you have that option, but it's not like the default way to play the game, you know?
And I love this discipline by Bobe, continuing to sell units, making his board weaker, but making sure he gets that econ. We just saw him drop a Malphite too to place a blitz because he refuses to give up on his Battlecast units. So I think that's the right play. Early in the game, yeah, you take more damage, but the early game damage is so trivial relative to how important gold is that I think this is a great play by him. So I love how he's managing his econ. I don't know if it makes sense to hyper from this point, though. What do you think, Becca? He doesn't really seem to have too many copies of any of the units that he needs.
I have no idea how he's going to play it, because the last time he did Battlecast, he was at 6 Malphites, and he was very willing to give it up, so I guess he only goes for the Malphite 3 if it's very apparent. He's just just hits it naturally while he's rolling for other stuff. So it is a little different from how I like to play it, so I'm just here for the ride. I'm just here to watch how he plays it.
I think you've got to slow roll it, right? You just don't have enough to hyper roll at this point. I would be surprised if he did. I think maybe we'll see him do sort of a middle ground thing where he'll roll down a little bit at 3-1, and when he hits some 2 stars, he'll stop there. So we may see him just kind of try to stabilize as well.
But he is so super far away from a lot of the 3 stars, so
Yeah.
I'm going to guess that he doesn't hyper roll this game.
I wouldn't.
I agree. Yeah, I wouldn't do it because the thing is, you need to hit a 3-star, I think, for the hyper roll to be worth it.
Right.
Arguably, I guess if you hit everything 2-star and you didn't take all of your gold, it's still okay. But you really want to be looking for that 3-star, and if you don't hit, then you're gonna be really poor for the rest of the game, and you're gonna have a bad time. So I think this Pobe is probably is a super good player. He's probably gonna show us some responsiveness to the circumstances by changing up his strategy this time around.
Well, Bobe's name in his ID in Korean means treasure, so you'd think he'd be more economic focused than the average player. So we'll see.
That means he needs to play Space Pirates, man. He's gonna hard pivot.
He
to Space
is
Pirates.
rolling. He rolled a bit. Okay, so he also didn't hit any graves. So
Okay.
playing the Blitz is smarter because you could just play the Ezreal for an easy chrono buff. He has just 1 graves. This is a little rough. I think he committed to the comp really early and now is just not finding the units.
I agree. I think this is actually a scenario where you're kind of beholden to RNG at this point because his econ is also not awesome, for hitting 3-star with anything. His items are not super awesome because he got so many rods. Yeah, you can make Ionic Spark, but it's not the ideal item. So the good news is he's probably going to lose, be able to pick up a Static Shiv on Carousel, and that'll help him stabilize, especially if it's Hog 2. But this is not nearly as high roll of a game as the last time he played.
Yeah.
He has a lot of points, but he does need to be a little bit careful too. There is a scenario where he does get knocked out of top 4. It's really crazy. Like, it would have to be like all the 19-point players, so like Shoemaker, Levdi, and Achen would all have to get like first, second, third, and then everyone else would have to get after that. So there's mathematically a world where he doesn't make top 4, so he does need to kind of still play this game pretty seriously, but it's unlikely. He's in a rough spot though. Wait, was he contested? Did we just see a different board where someone had like a better version of what he was going for?
It's really hard for me to keep up.
I thought I saw that. He was going through the players pretty quick, but might have known that. I was also looking at the standings at the moment too, so
if
I was just
if he
looking at
is
Haj to...
Yeah, if he is contested, I'm gonna give a hot take and say he's doomed.
Yeah,
I think his run is pretty poor. He has like no units, so if he's contested, he's in a really, really tight spot. But if he's not contested, he can still pull this out. And there's the Gnar that he can look to play, although it's kind of expensive for him right now. I do think he should
check
look
it
to
out.
pick it up.
Yeah, so Shoemaker is trying to play the Battlecast board as well. And that is a great way to hold hands down to 7th and 8th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Oh no.
It's you hate to see it.
Well,
You versus the guy she tells you not to worry about.
right?
So the silver lining here is that if Shoemaker is hurt badly by playing a contested hyper roll comp as well, then that would still probably mean that Bobe has enough points to make it through, because Shoemaker is one of the 19-point players. So it could still work out, but yeah, I'd be sweating a little bit if I were both of these guys right now, actually.
Well, I think at this point, Bobe should just pray to whatever he believes in. In terms of things he can do, though, he can try to pivot into a Jinx comp. You know, that's one way to try to salvage when you're not hitting Cog. He does already have the Death Blade. He has a chain that can become a GA for GP or just a red buff immediately. He has the Blitz Krang level 2. He has the Ezreal level 2. So there are things he can do, but Jinx is not exactly a comp that you hit and you win streak unless you get lucky.
Yeah.
But I think at this point he just needs to get creative because it's clear that he's not going to be hitting any 3 stars anytime soon.
I mean, he also only has one completed item on his board. So at some point you need to build more items too, but his items just aren't very good for the comp he's trying to do either.
Oh,
Yeah, so I know Hajj was win streaking until just last round, I think. And Volterix has a Malphite 3, so he's playing Rebels. I think he's just really contested. I don't know what Hajj is playing because it's hard to see. But that...
yeah. Yeah, when you get contested by the
really
guy
hard.
who's not even playing the same comp, that feels bad.
This is it's super rough for Bobe.
Yeah, it gets hard to transition to Rebels as well, or Jinx as well, just because you know someone else. I mean, obviously it supports 2 players, multiple players, but rough. And Doa, you were saying that he could actually drop out of the top 4?
There is a mathematical possibility. It's really unlikely, but it is possible. Based again on my just like mental math from look at the standings. But the reason is because it's so close from 6th to 1st. Like right now, there's only a 5-point difference between 6th place and 1st place in the standings overall. So that's the main reason. But man, he doesn't even have a Kog'Maw 2. Oh, I mean, I love Static Shiv on Kog'Maw. It's great with the Battlecast trait, but like, you need a Kog'Maw 2. You at least need a Kog'Maw 2.
And the tough thing is he was forced to commit the Static Shiv, even though if he wanted to pivot to Jinx, he definitely doesn't want to play Static Shiv Jinx. Because he's just so weak, right? He needs to preserve HP. He needs to just hang in there. So even if he does end up pivoting into Jinx, because I don't think he's hitting a Cog 3, at that point he's not going to have good Jinx items. So I think that probably the best case scenario is you like high roll some, I don't know, Battlecast spat and try to go just Battlecast carry, because if you have enough Battlecast units, you don't necessarily need a Cog 3. But yeah, definitely slim options and very much dependent on good luck right now. Oh, good Ezreal. Good Ezreal. I see that.
He lived. Wow.
He lived. The boy lives.
That's huge. Oh, another Jinx. If he can
There's
find the
another
Jinx
Jinx.
too. He's got an out.
Does.
Watch, he's
Will
gonna
he
find the
hit?
Jinx 2 and the Kog'Maw 2 on the same roll. I'm calling it now. That's the ultimate feels bad man shop.
No. But then what do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do?
Play Jinx
Well,
2?
he just sold the
probably.
he just sold the Jinxes
Oh, he sold the Jinx.
Oh man.
Oh.
for eco.
Hardest
All
to
right
get of all
then.
time.
We're all in.
Okay, Volterius has. I'm not sure. I might have seen it, but I think he has like seven Ziggs, and he has the Malphite, and it's like going back to the Shaq and Kobe old comp where people used to stack the Ziggs carry. I'm kind of
Yeah.
excited if he gets the Ziggs 3.
By the way, that
Haven't
is
seen
one of the
Ziggs carry
better
in a long
names. That's one of the better names for a comp that.
That
this
was
community
such a
has
good
come up
comp
with.
name.
Yeah, it's so good. I hated playing against it because, oh my god, Ziggs with double Seraphs when that was possible. Oof. That's so
Oh,
painful.
yeah.
Seraph.
Great name.
Seraph
Right?
happy hands. Yeah.
All right, Jewel Gauntlet on Ezreal. Just trying to do whatever he can to make this work.
Yeah, I can't help but feel like he should be slamming a Shroud instead of
I-
a Gauntlet here, but I guess this helps. I guess if he just needs more damage on his team, Ezreal can do work as well. I don't know. What do you think?
Oh,
about
is he
that?
going to beat the person contesting him? No, he's not. Would have felt good, but that's rough.
Oh man. I didn't catch your question, Primal.
Oh, I was just asking, how do you feel about Jewel Gauntlet here on Ezreal? I was saying maybe a Shroud is better there since I guess maybe he's holding on to red buff. I'm not really sure what he's holding on to the chain for, but
Okay, so I know from my Twitch chat that Jeweled Gauntlet works on Battlecast synergy. Correct me if I'm wrong. So maybe that's why he built it, just for
Oh, does it?
the potential. Yeah, that's what I heard. I mean, it might be wrong. It's Twitch chat, so.
I mean,
like,
you need to put it on the
that's Twitch
Battlecast
chat.
champion.
Twitch cast
But
rolls.
I hadn't heard that. I mean, that might be correct, but Battlecast. So you're saying that the Battlecast proc, the like little beam, crits if you have Jewel Gauntlet?
But
Interesting.
like I said,
Interesting.
I take that with a grain of salt, dude. It's Twitch
Yeah,
chat.
I've never heard that before. But that said, TFT is such a complex game that I feel like I'm always learning something new every day. But that would be interesting. But I think it's just it feels like desperation to me, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
I mean,
does
I just
feel
went
like that.
over
Just trying to
Husky.
save as much HP as he can.
Yeah.
But good news, he's at 50 gold, right? So he's not
Yeah.
broke anymore, and now he can re-roll. Hopefully hit probably Cog 3 is a long shot again, but hopefully hit like a Victor 2, maybe pick up an Urgot later off Carousel. So there are outs. They're not great, but it's possible.
I do have to say I am really impressed at the poise from Pobe in that he didn't panic. He didn't just go super all in and roll all his gold. He knows he's contested. He's just trying to play the best, contested board he can, and he's doing a pretty good job. Ooh, Ash carry from Obo.
I think he's just waiting to see if he wins the round to buy the victor. And if he doesn't,
Yeah.
then he is not playing Battlecast.
Oh,
Dude,
that hurts.
Watching Ash permastun your team is one of the saddest things that can happen in this game.
Oh man.
The
Yeah.
whole back line just got permastun by double Shoujin's Ash. Sometimes it'd be like that though. So.
Okay. So you saw his cursor go towards the victor at the end. Maybe he wanted to show that he's thinking about whether or not he wants to take it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Interesting. Surprised he didn't go for Urgot there. You could just run 6 Battlecast straight up. But I guess he doesn't want too many swords. Doesn't want sword on Urgot. I mean, he could make a GA Urgot and pick up Victor and just run 6 Battlecast immediately. But I guess it's
Right.
arguable whether that's stronger than what he's getting out of Ezreal and Blitz. He would definitely have to level to play 6 Battlecasts, though, because he doesn't want to drop Blaster.
Yeah. Doing a little bit of
Yeah.
scouting around the lobby. And... Oh, Nocturne? Alright. Cassiopeia 3 is kind of interesting. It's not going to carry you, but it'll maybe... Okay, so he's selling it. I was gonna
wait a
say,
second. Wait a second. He's going for Ezreal 3.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
actually, that
he's
can
going
be
for Ezreal
really
3.
good.
Yeah, that's why he stacked the Ezreal. Okay, all right. This is the kind of creative play that wouldn't even occur to me. So I'm happy to watch him. But switching over to Volterius, possibly the most consistent player in this lobby right now.
Yeah.
He definitely is not having an issue hitting his units.
Well, he's got mech, and he's got the new and improved Hex Tech Gunblade, which is pretty good on the mech right now.
He's 1 away from 6-3. Let's go, Kobe. I'm actually super excited. I mean, it's like something that you can only go for on this Galaxy. He's level 7, still holding the Ziggs.
Kobe.
And I guess if it doesn't hit, then he just goes with the Acel.
That Zed did
Nothing to
work
lose.
too.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, he is going for Z3.
Yeah. So it's interesting because often if you're playing something like Rebels, you can just have Zed be the item holder for Jinx. That said, if you're gonna hit a Z3, maybe you just keep the Z3, and Jinx can be there as just a supporting unit. So the roles get reversed, Zed gets promoted, Jinx gets demoted. But yeah, Zed is actually pretty amazing with these items. It's just that he falls off late game, but if you just get 9 of them, that's less of a problem.
I don't think he's going for the Z3. I think it's just the remade one, just for the Jinx. Once he finds her. Yeah.
That's also possible.
Well, has to try to survive long enough, but I mean, he's got plenty of HP. That's the thing with Volterix right now, is that even if he starts to drop off a little bit, he's got so much time to pivot and to make little adjustments and things like that, that he's basically guaranteed top 4 at this point.
Yeah, he's just in a really dominant position. Tons of gold.
Yeah.
There's his Jinx. Let's see if he's gonna swap it out immediately, or wait till he has Jinx 2, or maybe I'm praying for Z3, but I think Becca made a good point that he might just be holding it. But yeah,
honestly,
this is
I'm praying for a Z3 too, because that's way fun. But I don't think it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Because everyone wants to go for the reliable play, no?
Well, don't let your minions see dreams.
So back on board with Bobe, because he is on the verge of dropping out, and if he does go out in 8th, like I said, there's some weird stuff that can happen with the standings. So it would be tragic to see him not make it through after such a strong day, 2 first places. But you know, we'll see. I'd love to see him hit this Ezreal 3 though. That would be hype.
Yeah,
he's
got
got
50 gold.
Yeah.
He held on to all his gold with 7 HP left. I would never have the bravery to do that, dude.
He held on to all of his gold and all of his items.
Well,
But,
time to roll down.
Oh, there's 6 cogs. Can we get 3 more?
Oh my goodness.
It's a little
There's
high
no
rolly
way.
at this point, but it's not out of the
There's
question.
no way.
There it is. 1, 2 more.
There's
2
another
more.
one.
2.
Oh, 1 more.
One more.
He could do it.
Come
he could do
on.
it. Trust, belief.
Oh.
Roll again.
The speed
Roll
was
again.
really fast.
Oh.
He rolled 50 gold in 1 turn. He's very quick.
Oh, he's playing
Ping,
against
I'm
his
assuming.
nemesis. Oh no, not like this.
Oh man.
It can't end like
Okay,
this.
can we talk about how fast he rolled with ping?
Yeah. those
50
mechanics,
gold.
though.
I can't do that with my NA ping.
I mean, you can see the smile on his face. He's like, all right, well, that's how it goes. You know, sometimes you get contested. So he's out in 8th. And that, you know, his fate is not in his hands anymore. So Bobe going to be sweating and watching the way the rest of the results from this lobby come in now.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, right, the players who need to do well, Lebdi, Hasti, and I forget who the last one is, who could all place 1, 2, 3 and knock him out. They're doing okay. So if I'm Pobe, I'm kind of sweating. But at this point, Shoemaker, who has basically the opposite story, tried to play the same comp but is actually hitting his units, has got to be feeling pretty okay about his spot because he has really, really good cog items. He is 3 cogs off, but he has 40 gold to roll down if he needs to. But the fact that he has all these other 3 costs means that he's not going to be taking huge damage even if he loses.
Right. Well, we will see as Achen is kind of on the bubble a little bit here too. Only 12 HP, so he is in a little bit of trouble. Oh no, and he's going to lose this one by quite a bit. Is he out?
Boom.
He is. Achen out in, I believe that would be 7th. Yeah, Calcifer actually wins his round too. So Calcifer seems to love to live below 10 HP. That's just like the comfort zone for him. He's at 1 right now, but he's still alive. He's not making it today too, but you know, he's had some entertaining runs here in some of his games.
Yeah, he can at least play spoiler, right? And in some ways, that's just as good as winning sometimes. So
yeah, can be.
Can be.
So we're gonna jump on board with Calcifer now to see, because unfortunately for Calcifer, strong performance to get to the Galaxies Championship, but he will not be joining us in day 2. It's just not possible with the way the points are working out. But I want to at least give him a little bit of love before he goes home here.
Yeah, I mean,
Or
the
he's
mech
probably
is
already
in
home.
there. He's all the
Yeah.
way up in the back line.
Yep.
That is his Victor. He has perfect item Victor. So this Victor is gonna crank out a ton of damage. Pretty vulnerable if he faces a Shaco player, but I don't know if there's actually a Shaco player in the lobby.
GP.
Did you see him type? Type and then erase? That's me every time.
It's like, please, give me that demo.
Yeah.
All right, so
It looks
what
like
do you want here, I guess.
let's see, what did he came out? Estoy. It's bad. Okay, I played
How
bad.
If they were
poorly
typing
am
it
I
anyway, I'd be
playing?
able to help you, but I can't.
No, he
do-
said I'm
yeah.
playing poorly.
Yeah. My high school
but-
Spanish came in there.
Yeah, mine too. I think he's just typing through his chat. So
Yeah.
never mind.
Yep. Well, everybody has a kind of a rough day, even if that ends up being the championships once in a while. So, Calcifer hanging on, though. But let's take a look at our representative from Brazil, one of them anyway. It's Hasti, and he is going for the Star Guardian Sorks, finds the Janna. So he's in pretty good place. Would you sell the... Yeah, I would sell the Zereth and move the Thieves Gloves over to the Janna. Yeah. Oh, on the Rakan. Huh. What do you think about
the
that,
extra
Gron?
dodge.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. That's a good point.
Yeah. It's extra dodge, and Janna doesn't make good use of a lot of the items, right? She gets AD items, useless. If she gets tank items, useless. So Rakan, he's pretty solid. Late game, he can pop off, especially if he gets like a Morelos or something on him. So it's not terrible.
Wow, look at this mech, though. Oh, no.
Big boy. This mech don't care. Also,
Oh no,
Hasti's
14
missing a
HP for
blue buff.
Calcifer? Or for Hasti, he's
Oh,
out?
Calcifer!
Oh, that is rough. Because he was one of our players that was kind of on the bubble a little bit.
Yeah.
Hasti
Oh, man.
had 20 points. So does he have enough to stay top 4? We'll have to check in a little bit later as the scores come in. But on board with Lev D now, player that has an opportunity for a Thresh too. All right. I can't afford that Urgot though. Ooh.
At this point, he just needs the Echo, and he's going to be really strong once he hits Echo and can develop a bench. Calcifer, playing spoiler here. Is Calcifer
Yeah, he
antagonist
really
or
did.
protagonist here, Becca?
I think
don't
he
know.
might be. Actually, he might be the antagonist. Did you see his face? Hashti's face was so upset, and he only lost by 1 HP, or 1
Top
HP
10
below
anime
0.
betrayals.
Right?
Yeah.
This guy can't even advance, and he's just ruining other people's dreams. So,
But I would
every
try my
villains are
hardest
good.
too if I were him. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, Obo. All right, he is out in. Obo is out in 4th. So top 4 for Obo. So strong end to what was a tough day for him, ending it with a 2nd place and a 4th place. So getting a couple top 4s, but obviously not going to make it through to day 2 now.
I actually really like this play by Lev D to actually not go 9, because he was probably stuck in a place where he didn't have enough gold to go 9 and make good use out of it. And it's pretty expensive to go 9, and he hit a Force of Nature. So he actually doesn't need to go 9 to have all of the synergies that he wants for cybernetics. Obviously, going 9 would be ideal that you could fit 4 chrono, but it's actually totally fine to just say, hey, look, I'm going to spend all my gold upgrading my board at 8, get in all my synergies, and hopefully hit at least an Echo 1 before I go 9.
Right.
Yeah, and staying at 8 probably got him the top 3, just because it wasn't enough gold.
Agreed.
Probably.
So I think that's like one of those decisions that are really hard to make. I think I mentioned it in the beginning, knowing when to level versus knowing when to roll, especially with Cybers, because your comp can get so much better with a 9th unit. So yeah, hard choice, but I think he did a great job.
I mean, really important for Levdi as well, because he was one of our players at 19 points at the beginning of this game. So getting a top 3 is going to get him a long way towards making it out in the top 4. Going up against Shoemaker, though, who has that 6 Battlecast comp, I believe.
Yeah.
And
Shoemaker
wow, that was
is
strong.
Shoemaker is online.
Oof.
Goodbye.
And really,
Wow.
really strong. And Shoemaker's not done yet, growing yet, because there's still a cog 3 that he can hit.
Yeah.
I think Shoemaker, despite Voltarius' huge lead before, with a little bit of luck, Shoemaker can take this at this point. Because the thing with running Jinx comps is, unless you're hitting the GP with the Guardian Angel late game, it does kind of fall off.
Yeah. All right, so we're down to our top two, Volterix and Shoemaker. I want him to hit that Cog 3. I just want to see this like Battlecast comp online fully.
Wait, is that
Am I wrong,
Assassin
or has-
Jinx? Is that Infiltrator Jinx? Or am I seeing things?
What?
No.
That's Infiltrator Jinx.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Oh wow, it is. Yeah, but
He
but get
also
Zephyr.
went for the Z3, like you said.
Yeah, there it is. Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's funny, he
Okay,
Zephyred the
Volterix.
Jinx, so it's like, nah, you don't want to jump back here after all, you know? No, stay there.
Dude, Volterix, big brain. Look at that Z3 Jinx Infiltrator. Z3 was kind of, you could sort of see it, but Jinx Infiltrator, I did not see that ever. That's such a confident play to be like, okay, I know I'm not gonna have my Jinx grief and lose me the ground. I'm just gonna play it.
I mean, is it really Jinx? Oh wait, I'm too scared to do Jinx Infiltrator. I'm thinking like, is he doing it to avoid the Nocturne and the Victor ults, or is it just because he wants the attack speed buff on her? Man, I would just put
I
it
think
on
he wants to
someone
buff his
that I
Zed.
don't need. Yeah.
Yeah. Wants to
But
keep
I
his
mean,
Zed
does it have
healthy.
to go on Jinx? Is the question.
No,
I
it
think
definitely
it's-
doesn't.
He doesn't have to, but honestly, as you noted, Becca, it actually keeps her pretty safe from any infiltrator. She
Yeah.
really benefits from the attack speed, and he just took a first with it. So I need
All right.
to talk to
GG.
Volterix, man. This guy has a beautiful mind for TFT. This guy is so creative.